Hello everyone, happy Easter to everyone. And I wanted to put a special video today. And the video is about Hansie Cronje, the former South African captain, and some facts about Hansie Cronje's whole saga about the spot fixing incident. Because what prompted me to do it is that day before yesterday I was watching a video, and I've always wanted to put a video about this, but I saw a video where South Africa chose not to run out a batsman who collided with a bowler, which was in the spirit of the game, and South Africans have done it so many times under Hansie Cronje. And I was reading a lot of comments, and everyone was talking a lot about Hansie Cronje and how much they liked him, and that he did one mistake, which was match fixing. Obviously, Hansie Cronje made a huge mistake by accepting money and putting players in the team and asking them to underperform a couple of them. But one fact that people don't know, I think 90% of the people don't know, is that Hansie Cronje did never fixed a match for South Africa. He never took money to lose a match for South Africa, and he has never done that once in his life. I'm not justifying what he did. Obviously, it was right for him to be banned from cricket for spot fixing. Spot fixing and match fixing is different. Match fixing is when you take money and you lose a match for your country, which India and Pakistan, both of them have done under certain captains. I'm not going to name them, but people know who they are. And even Hansie Cronje was introduced to these match fixing people by Indian and Pakistani players, a couple of them that I'm not going to name. And it all started actually in 1996. People who have followed cricket in the 90s will remember the Titan Cup where South Africa, Australia, and India played, and South Africa had won all six matches and lost in the finals to India. And after that match, there was a match. It was the Mohinder Ramannath benefit match. It was at Wankhede Stadium, Mumbai. And that match was actually Hansie Cronje's 50th match as a captain. And that was the first time ever that South Africa were approached by these fixers. And he was approached, and Hansie Cronje held a team meeting. And at the team meeting, he said that he was approached by fixers to fix this game. And a few of the players were strongly against it, and they decided not to do that. And Andrew Hudson, the South African opener, former opener, was one of the strongest players who opposed this match fixing thing. And obviously, they all decided that they were not going to do that. I mean, because Hansie Cronje's whole incident it happened when he was banned. The series was in 2000 against India in India. So a lot of people sometimes trace back this incident to 2000. But I have to say that it all started from 1996. Match fixers go approaching South Africa and disturbing them and really pestering them. But obviously they decided against it in 1996. But later on, even when South Africa, without purpose, lost matches, they used to receive money, which they never chose to lose a match for. And like what I'm saying is that they were indirectly and very cleverly brought into this fixing thing. But I'm definitely never justifying Hansie Cronje, even though he was one of my big heroes in the 90s as a captain. But what he did was absolutely wrong, taking money. And what happened was that in that match in Kochi, in those days, I always used to know which South African team would play because I used to follow South African cricket a lot. And Henry Williams, bowler, was selected in the South African team. And when I saw that team list, I used to think that there is something wrong. It cannot be true that Henry Williams is playing in a one-day match against India on an Indian pitch. And later on, it came to the fore that Hansie Cronje had taken money to include Henry Williams in the team, and he had also asked him to go over 50 runs in his 10 overs, which didn't happen because of an injury. And he also asked Herschel Gibbs to underperform in a match or two, and that also actually didn't happen. But still, he did ask Henry Williams and Herschel Gibbs to underperform. And Henry Williams and Herschel Gibbs also was banned for a while from cricket, but they later on played cricket, obviously. But Hansie Cronje was banned for life from cricket. And in 2000, when I visited South Africa first time, I actually watched the whole court trial of Hansie Cronje's thing in South Africa. So I know a lot more facts than a lot of people would probably know in India. And one of the things that I have to say was that once there was a guy, a South African Indian guy, on the eve of a match. Hansie Cronje had a match to play on the next day for South Africa, and on the eve of the match, around midnight, 11, 12, close to that time, this South African Indian guy actually called Hansie Cronje on the phone close to 100 times. I think around 80, 90 times. I can't remember the exact figures, but around 100, close to 100 times, he called Hansie Cronje on the phone. And I remember the lady lawyer who was in charge of this whole proceeding, she couldn't believe it either. And she was asking the South African Indian man if he was really serious about it, because he said Hansie Cronje was his friend. And she was like saying, I mean, he was an international cricket captain who had a match to play the next day, and how can you call him around 100 times on his phone? But I'm just telling people how much they pestered and troubled Hansie Cronje to do all this. Obviously, he was wrong, I'm saying again, but I mean, calling an international captain on the eve of the match that many times on the phone, you can imagine how much they pestered Hansie Cronje over this. And even in the court trial, I mean, towards the end, Hansie Cronje did cry at the end of the court trial, but he did say in his court trial very clearly that he had never taken money to fix a match for South Africa, and that which means he has never lost a match for South Africa taking money, and that is what people need to know. I mean, people shouldn't say, I mean, Hansie Cronje, a lot of people say, oh, he was involved in he did match fixing, but he never did match fixing. What he did was spot fixing. He took money to include players in the team, which was definitely wrong, and also asked a couple of players to underperform, which was again wrong. But he never fixed a match for South Africa. He never lost a match for South Africa, and these are facts that people should know. And on Easter Day, I think it's a perfect day to talk about it. And being a very huge Hansie fan, I think I do owe it to him as well to talk it what exactly happened on my YouTube channel as well. And he did say, like I said in his video, that he never fixed a match for South Africa. And in 1996, 97, 98, I remember the 3 years South Africa lost 5 matches per year in 96, 97, and 98. In those years, South Africa were really difficult to beat, and no wonder why the match fixers were after South Africa, because if you get if South Africa lose, obviously the bettors, the bookies will definitely make a lot of money, because 95% of the people would always bet South Africa to win. Because of how well South Africa used to play in the late 90s, especially in one-day international. So that is something that people should please realize, that Hansie Cronje never took money to fix a match. He never lost a match for South Africa, not a single match, but he definitely did a big thing wrong. And he also once said a very important thing that will help a lot of people in sport or whatever they do. Hansie Cronje has said, when Satan comes knocking on your door, pray to when Satan keeps knocking on your door, keep your eyes on the Lord and pray that you do not do wrong. Obviously, him being a Christian, he's used the word Satan and Lord, but if you, whatever religion that you believe in, I can rephrase it. When Satan or whatever you say, the evil force, when Satan comes knocking on your door, keep your eyes on God and pray that you do not do wrong. That is one of the great things Hansie Cronje has said after this whole incident of how Satan comes knocking on the door. He's talking about these match-fixing people pestering him and really getting into him. But Hansie Cronje was seen like a hero by a lot of people, not just South Africans, especially Indians. A lot of people looked up to Hansie Cronje, and it was definitely very wrong of him to do that. And that is why probably he also said to people that people should keep their eyes on God and ask him to help them not to do wrong. But because you will have temptations in life, and especially if you are money greedy. And Hansie Cronje definitely did admit that he had a greed for money, and that is what caught him. So that is my special video on Hansie Cronje. I did mention about the 96 benefit match where South Africa were first approached for the match fixing and that they refused it, and also about that 2000 series where Herschel Gibbs and Henry Williams was asked to underperform by Hansie Cronje, and also including Henry Williams in the team. But I'm just saying one last time that Hansie Cronje never lost a match for South Africa and never took money to lose a match for South Africa. So people, please, when you please talk about it or think about it, please do not think that Hansie Cronje fixed a match for South Africa, and it is wrong for you to say that, because there are a lot of other there are some Indian and Pakistani players who have fixed matches for their country, who have taken money and have lost matches for their country, but Hansie Cronje never did that. So I hope this video gives a lot more clarity about what happened in that Hansie Cronje incident. And as someone who had watched the court trial live all the days in South Africa in 2000, I know more facts about this incident. So I thought I should share it with people who love the game, and some people, obviously people who also follow my video, to know the facts as it is. And I hope a lot of people do watch this video and really gets the facts right. Anyway, thank you so much for joining in. I'm also really happy to have shared this finally, and hope it gives you a lot of more clarity about this, what happened, and will probably change your opinions. But obviously, what he did was wrong, and it was sad that someone who was seen as a hero fell to such a bad low heights, I should say. Anyway, thank you everyone. Take care and God bless you.